No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by Play Now, along with Connor Harabchuk joining us from high atop the ice surface at the Canada Life Center. I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss one of the most complete victories by the Winnipeg Jets on the season. The hype for this game was real. There was a marquee aspect to it, as Jeff Merrick referred to this morning on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, and the Winnipeg Jets stood up and showed up in great fashion with a commanding, dominant, controlled 3-0 victory over the Colorado Avalanche tonight. Connor, good evening. Great to see you on this Saturday night.
Yes, thank you for having me. Always a blast coming on the Illegal Curve postgame show, and it's even better when the Jets have maybe one of their best performances of the season. And I don't know, they've played the Avs a lot over maybe in this calendar year, given the playoffs. This is maybe one of their best performances of that. Obviously, maybe the 7-0 win right before the playoffs last year, but anytime you can beat a division rival and a playoff one at that, this like they did tonight, it was a strong performance.
Well, I was thinking as the start of this post-game show, this was this 8-game homestand the Jets are on. This was an opportunity to, to make some hay. They've been a great home ice team so far this year. And frankly, the start to this homestand has been a middling at best. 1-1-2, sort of a weird record, but nothing about the first 4 games of this homestand have really stood out in any great way, shape, or form. And then tonight, on the second half of a back-to-back, albeit one with no travel, against the Colorado Avalanche team that hadn't played since Thursday, albeit third in 4 nights for them, the Winnipeg Jets went out and they played the style of game that makes them so dangerous and makes them so... This is the best. The Winnipeg Jets at their best is what we saw tonight. Just stifling defensively and opportunistic offensively, and to do it against the Colorado Avalanche team that has been playing some pretty good hockey is doubly impressive, I would say. Can't hear you at the moment. I'm not sure if you muted yourself,
there
Connor. There you go.
I did.
There you go.
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. But okay. I agree with you. That's all you missed there from that the mutage. The Jets' best players were their best players on this night. Connor Hellebuyck with 22 saves. The top line, I taking a look at natural stat checker, they only had the 1 goal at 5-on-5, but the scoring chances for that line 10-1, and the high danger chances 7-0 with Connor, Scheifele, and Velarde on the ice. So they were the Jets' best line. They were matched up mostly against the middle stat line or maybe the Ross Colton line for Colorado most of the night, that Scheifele line was, and they dominated their minutes. And with Vladislav Nemestikov out, Adam Lowry moved up to that second line, maybe third line. I don't know. I follow. It was a bunch of lines that we'll talk about, but
they played the second most at 5-on-5. So Iafallo, Lowry, and Ehlers played 13 minutes and 49 seconds together at 5-on-5. So if you want to strictly look at it from a time on ice perspective, then you would say they were the second line in tonight's contest.
Yes, and that line was matched up against Nathan McKinnon for the majority of the night, and I thought they played well throughout. So the Jets, from top to bottom, they were great. And check out this. I'm taking a look at natural stat trick right now. I
know which exactly you're going to say also.
Yeah, in the back 40 minutes of this game, the high danger chances were 10-0 for the Jets. So after the first period, Colorado had no high danger chances. The high danger chances for the game were 14-4, or that was at 5-on-5. Colorado had 1 high danger chance in the third period on the power play. But yeah, just a stifling defensive performance from the Jets. And when you play that well in front of Connor Hellebuyck, you're going to win most nights.
Well, the third straight shutout for Connor Hellebuck against the Colorado Avalanche, which is a remarkable stat. I mean, the Colorado Avalanche are not some, middling offensive team. I mean, I think we all know
Right.
that. Everyone who's tuning in knows that. We all know that this is a team that is an absolute dynamo offensively. And Connor Hellebuck, his sixth shutout of the season, if I'm not mistaken on that number, and to have three of those against the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, to shut out a division rival three times so far this year, it is just a fantastic performance by the Winnipeg Jets netminder. It's sort of fitting in this weekend that has been about Connor Hellebuck. It's been about the saluting of the excellence of Connor Hellebuck. We got to see it as appropriate, him with a relatively easy shutout, backstopping the Winnipeg Jets tonight.
That's as easy as it's going to get against the Colorado Avalanche. That's for sure. And shout out Jacob Stoller, who I sit next to up in the press box and do my show with Sunday mornings. He tweeted this out after the game, but Connor Hellebuck, his sixth shutout of the season, that matches his career high. Yeah. It is January 11th. If you haven't checked,
you think you'll get another one?
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, the Jets, like Connor Hellebuck, we've spent so much time talking about him over the last week because he's hitting all these milestones. But he's truly putting together the best season of his career, and him tying his career high in January on shutouts is just another thing that he's going to hit. He's going to get another shutout. He might finish with the highest save percentage of his career, goals against average. He's running away with the Vezina. We've said all these things about Connor Hellebuck, and it still feels like it isn't enough. It feels like we could still say more because he's just been that dominant. And the rest of the Jets followed suit in front of him tonight.
Yeah, I misspoke earlier. My apologies. The two shutouts against the Avs this year. The third one dates back to the end of the season last year. So I apologize for misspeaking. It's our third show in the last 23 hours or so. So my brain might be a little bit mush, but it also might be a little bit of red wine that I've had, admittedly, that might be contributing to that as well. 6 shutouts now. I'm seeing this from our buddy Jesse Granger of The Athletic. The last time an NHL goaltender had double-digit shutouts in a single season was back in 2014-15 when Marc-Andre Fleury had 10. So it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility for Connor Hellebuck with, I guess, what's now 38 games left, if I'm not mistaken, on the season, and him 4 shutouts away. But this is just, this is what you want from the Winnipeg Jets, to bottle it up. You talk about games where you want to bottle it up and, present this come playoff time, or presented when the games matter the most. And this was incredible of the Winnipeg Jets, and it's not a full-strength version of the Winnipeg Jets either, with Vlad Nemesnikov out of the lineup, so Nikolai Ehlers gets promoted, and you wonder, based on his performance and, alongside that, the performance of Nikolai Ehlers, does this maybe become the catalyst for the Jets to rethink or repurpose some of that bottom 9 forward lines moving forward? And obviously time will tell on that front, but Adam Lowry certainly stepped up as well, and that whole line stepped up, playing with sort of some unaccustomed line mates in the absence of Vladislav Nemesnikov.
Totally. I 100% agree with you. Again, I've got Natural Stat Trick open. I might as well just read their stats, right?
Just keep using it.
I'll just keep going. The scoring chances for that line, 7-3. The high danger chances, 4-1. Obviously, Nikolai Ehlers got the 1 5-on-5 goal to start the game. He got the empty netter. That's not a 5-on-5 goal, but that line was tasked with shutting down Nathan MacKinnon. That's who those numbers came against, was Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, and Jonathan Drouin. 4-1 in high danger chances. That's all you can really ask for. I remember going into the playoff series last year saying, as long as the Lowry line, if they're able to somehow break even against MacKinnon, that would be a win. Well, on tonight, they dominated that line, and they outchanced them and outshot them, and even had goals and kept the Avs largely to the outside. I think that was the main theme I took away from this game, was that Avs had a ton of shot attempts. They were shooting a ton of pucks from the point. They had shifts and long shifts at that with Makar and MacKinnon on the ice where they're possessing the puck. We've seen it a lot here inside this building even. And the Jets were able to keep them to the outside and keep the high danger chances to a minimum, which is really, really tough against a team that's this good. But they did that. And then when the Avs did get a chance, maybe not of the high danger variety, but just a chance in general, Connor Hellebuck obviously was there. And the Jets defense corps played one of their best games of the recent, let's say, month.
Yeah. Look, 22 shots on goal is what the Colorado Avalanche had in this entire game. I mean, I don't care what stats you more or less subscribe to, whether it's the fancy stats, which aren't even that fancy anymore. They're more routine stats, or the traditional stats, the eye test, whatever you want. This was the Winnipeg Jets on a Saturday night in front of a sizable crowd. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the exact attendance numbers, but a sizable crowd with a large audience and a lot of focus on this game, playing at their absolute best. I mean, this is a Winnipeg Jets team that can certainly has earned their Sunday off. Presumably, they're going to have Sunday off before they get back on the ice on Tuesday against the Vancouver Canucks. Probably practice on Monday, but they've certainly earned their ability to kick up their feet and watch football or go hunting or do whatever they do on their Sunday day off, because this was absolutely just a stifling performance and a wholly impressive performance by the Winnipeg Jets. And I think a team that was in need of a performance like this. We mentioned the 1-1-2 start to the homestand so far. The teams they've beaten as of late, the win against Nashville, earlier this week, the win against Nashville right before the new year. Well, with all due respect to the Predators, I mean, those wins aren't, tipping the excitement scale too far to one side. A win like tonight's against the Colorado Avalanche, where you score 68 seconds into the game, and we'll get into that very quickly here on the Play Now game recap. Just waiting for Scott Arniel, Winnipeg Jets head coach, to join us here on the program. We'll bring you his media availability just as soon as it starts. Sounds like it's getting to be moments away here on the program, but this is what you wanted from the Winnipeg Jets. They're beyond statement games, so I'm not going to say it's a statement game, because they're beyond that. They're too good of a team and have been too good of a team for too long to have statement games. This is just a reminder. Maybe people forgot, or maybe people have said as of late, yeah, you were 15-1, but what have you done for us lately? Well, this was just a bit of a reminder by the Winnipeg Jets that, hey, yeah, we may have been we haven't been 15-1 as of late, but when we put it all together, we can look like a pretty damn good hockey team, and a pretty damn good hockey team that might be built for playoff time, because that's the kind of win that's going to translate to playoff time.
100%. And even coming off of last night's game, where Mike McIntyre had a tweet saying that the Jets had 2 high danger chances total against the Los Angeles Kings in the entire game. And here they were tonight with 14 and 0 power plays. I think that's the biggest thing as well. A lot of the criticisms that come around the Winnipeg Jets, at least recently, where they've been, just barely above 500, was, yes, their goaltending and their power play is elite and maybe the best in the NHL, both of those things. But at 5-on-5, are they generating enough? Are they suppressing chances enough at even strength, which they were so good at last year? And on a night like tonight, where, yes, Colorado's tired. Yes, the Jets are also tired. They played last night, even though it's not a true back-to-back with travel. They dominated the back 40 of this game, and all of it came at 5-on-5, a lot of penalty killing as well. So just a strong performance at maybe the most important part of the game, which is 5-on-5. And the Jets didn't even need their league best power play or their league best goaltender to work that hard tonight.
Here's Jets head coach Scott Arniel.
From your group this season, including one against Colorado earlier this year, I think they were a little banged up, if I recall at the time. They had their full team tonight. Is this as kind of good as you've seen from your group so far?
Yeah, it's probably when I thought last night, like I said, last night was a playoff game, and I thought we didn't score, but we really checked well. We did a great job of kind of battling. Tonight, I thought we put it all together. It was really a real solid game, or against a different opponent compared, where we knew that LA wasn't going to give us much room to work. These guys, there's a transition and speed game that they have, and I thought we did a fantastic job of kind of limiting that.
Coaches often talk about having good sticks, and probably need multiple hands to count how many times, like, where it looked like something might be developing in the slot, and you guys would get a stick on it and it deflect into the crowd or the netting or whatever. Is that an example of active and good sticks?
Yeah, I mean, we've always talked about and preached about the guts of the ice. The puck's going to try to get it. The opposition's going to try to get it there, and so being one step ahead. And both they are good sticks, and also I like the way we eliminated people. I don't mean like crushing hits. So we got in front of people, kind of not allowed them to get to the spots that they wanted to get to, and just kind of, the stuff that did happen, a lot of it came from the outside.
And then just with Vladdy not being able to go, just the mindset behind how you configured your second and third lines. We've seen Lowry and Ehlers play a little bit together, and they always seem to work well off each other. Was that part of it in your mind?
Yeah, the big thing, obviously there's a really good line on the other side there that certainly creates an awful lot of offense for them. But I knew it was going to take more than just one line, and however the matchups kind of worked out. But just the fact of having moving Coop up and just having fly speed on there, he was going to go head to head against Rantanen. So it's kind of with Al being on the other side, it just gave us kind of still a fast, little bit of speed to it. But they, like you mentioned, Lau's great at talking to Fly and kind of keeping him on board on how to make sure that he's doing the job. I thought he did a really good job. He did a great job. Obviously scored 2 goals, but he did a great job without the puck, and that's what that line did. We didn't let them get into that sort of attack game, that fast game that they like to play.
Is that a way you as a coach can almost get the best out of a guy like Ehlers? Because he doesn't get that hard matchup role night in, night out, but tonight obviously he's going to get amped up for it.
I think there's 2 things too. Is that for me, is that one, he's on the ice a little bit more in key situations, D-zone draws, where maybe I would throw Lau's line out there, or it might be a situation where he's starting in our end of the rink, where not a lot of times he's doing that. The other side is the responsibility that he knew he was going against the McKinnon line, and he took a lot of pride in that and making sure that he did his part to keep those guys off the score sheet. So, I liked it's intriguing now. It's got me thinking, so I liked a lot of what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, when he scores that goal, and then one of your next great chances, Niederreiter gets it to Perfetti out front, and you're kind of sitting there going, well, hey, I've got it all sorted. I'm a genius.
I mean, you never know how it's going to go. We had to, you don't always want to disrupt all the lines, but kind of had to today. Losing your second line center kind of made everything change. So had a lot to do with the McKinnon line. I wanted to make sure that we had somebody to match up against those guys, and I thought those 3 guys did a great job along with our defense.
And one thing I definitely wanted to ask was just how big of a challenge is it to go from playing that LA Kings style to this game? Now you got to be aware of a second wave, a third, like all of that. Is it something pro players can just do, or is it a bigger challenge than that?
I think that it helped. We were just there on New Year's in Colorado and kind of saw, and we know what they do, and we know how hard they attack. So we had some video that we got to use in preparation for tonight. Some things that we didn't want to do again, and we didn't want to repeat. The other side, the LA situation was how hard we had to try to get in, first get over their blue line and then get inside. And it was a different one. Tonight was more about how hard we poured back, how hard we defended in our end of the rink. And then once we got out and moving, we got our speed going, and we got our chances. Second period, we have 3 breakaways or 2 breakaways and a couple of real good looks. So we didn't get any of those looks against LA. There was no odd man rushes. There was no, through the neutral zone with speed and numbers coming. So it was a different animal tonight.
People may not think of Adam Lowry as a player that gets Nikolai Ehlers to maximize his speed. But we talked to Nick, and he kind of mentioned how a player like Lowry, helps him utilize his speed. Why do you think that is? Like, what are the ways in which that kind of takes place?
Well, Lau does a great job in our end coming from underneath, on the breakouts, supporting pucks. And that means when that happens, that allows the wingers to blow out. That allows them to get early speed. If it's a contested puck and you're slow and it's not, the centerman isn't there for support, you've got to stop too. So Lau is so good at underneath support. For our defense, it allows, like I just mentioned, that it allows that winger, especially if he's on the weak side, to just take off and go. And now he's up and running. And for Lau, or Al or our defenseman, put it to space and let him go get it.
Goals aside, do you think that was one of the most complete games you've seen from Nikolai Ehlers this season?
I don't know about this season. I would say coming back from the injury, okay. I'd say that's probably one of his best.
Just another night at the office for Connor Hellebuyck?
He had an easy night.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, we only gave up five on five chances, so easy night. No, there's no. I mean, never ever discredit a guy that gets a shutout. He had to make stops. He knew that the sort of volume was they were trying to get their volume, and that's another thing we did a really good job tonight was getting in shot lanes. We did a really good job of making sure that not all those pucks got to the net front, but when stuff happens, he's there. Their second power play, they seem to throw a lot more pucks at our net, kind of attacked it a little bit more, and he had to be, certainly had to be big.
Quick one on Dylan Sandberg's minutes and how good was he tonight?
Yeah, we didn't really want him to play that much, but again, I wasn't sure how after last night being 22 minutes how it was going to go. But man, he just built on last night's game, and it they saw an awful lot of McKinnon, and all four of those D I thought did a great job against that big line when we had to switch off different guys at times, but no, to have Sammy back, that's a big plus for us.
Scott, just one on Vladdy. Nothing changed from this morning. Like you don't think it's anything serious?
No. Just he got hit with that shot the other night, so we'll just see how he is the next day. So.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
There he goes, Winnipeg Jets head coach Scott Arniel tonight on the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by Play Now, speaking positively as you would expect, giving praise up and down his Winnipeg Jets lineup as the Jets have a 3-0 shutout victory over the Colorado Avalanche. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by Play Now. Drew Mandel, Connor Harabchuk with you. Connor, of course, live at the arena where the Jets were victorious tonight. Connor Hellebuck, as NHL.com just tweeted out, and I saw, Connor, you retweeted this, and it takes a second to really wrap your brain around it. But Connor Hellebuck, with his 6th shutout of the season, that means he's matched the number of regulation losses that he's had this year, which I can see you shaking your head, Connor, it is a mind-boggling stat to have as many shutouts as you've had regulation losses at this point of the season.
It's a mind-boggling stat among many for Connor Hellebuck this season. I mean, there's also a stat put out earlier that he's the first goalie to lead in all of the major categories this late into a season since a goalie for the Bruins in the 80s, whose name I'm forgetting right now, but it's like wins, save percentage, goals against average, and shutouts. He's the latest in a season to lead in all 4 of those categories. Like, he's just making history in front of our very eyes. I wrote in my feature on Connor Hellebuck earlier this week for illegalcurve.com that we're witnessing a Hall of Fame career before our very eyes here in the city of Winnipeg. And I mean, as many shutouts as regulation losses, that's like, if you told me that we'd be sitting here on January 11th and he would have that stat next to his name, like that's just ridiculous.
This isn't a guy who plays 5 games a year or something like that. He's got
exactly.
1 regulation loss and 1 shutout. We know who Connor Hellebuck is. And, to your point, and it's something I said similarly on, I guess the shows are all blending together now. It must have been Tuesday's game, I think, because it was Tuesday when he got 300th win. That we do sort of take it for granted. And Jeff Merrick, who joined us this morning on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, and if any of you missed it, we do recommend heading back to the podcast or the YouTube channel and catch Jeff's appearance and catch Sarah Orlesky's appearance as well. But, Jeff Merrick said, make sure you're not sort of taking this for granted. Make sure you're appreciating the excellence that is unfolding in front of you. And then tonight, was another opportunity where, I know it sounds ad nauseum and it gets a little bit tiresome to hear it, but when you're this good and when you're watching this excellence in a Hall of Fame performance year after year, night after night, enjoy it, embrace it, appreciate it, because you don't always get to see this on a night in, night out basis, as 31 other teams can attest to that don't have Connor Hellebuck as their starting goaltender. 25 minutes into the post-game show, let's get into the goal-by-goal recap, the nitty-gritty details of this game. It is called the Play Now Game Recap.
The Play Now Game Recap.
Big thanks to our friends at Play Now for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Sign up for Play Now and get a casino welcome bonus up to $150. Play Now is Manitoba's local, legal, and secure gambling site and the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. Conditions apply, 18+. Enjoy responsibly. I know that tomorrow morning I'm going to be heading to my Play Now account and making a bet on the NFL playoffs, as I plan to enjoy my Sunday day off as well. The players get the day off. I'll get Sunday off as well, and watch a little bit of football. I'll still be parenting, mind you, but I'll have the football. Keep an eye on it in the background. Do you have a football team, Connor? Are you a Vikings fan, or am I going to have to kick you off the show?
I am a San Francisco 49ers fan.
Okay, I'll let that
tough
slide
year.
for this.
Tough
year. I'll let it slide. You can stick around for the rest of the post game show.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
I'll cheer for the Vikings in the playoffs. How about that?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any little love that us Vikings fans can get, we appreciate. From wherever direction it comes from. Exactly. In any event, big thanks, as I said, to Play Now for their support of this program and our Saturday show as well. The Winnipeg Jets, when you're on the second half of a back-to-back, you want to get a good start. You want to get an early lead. You want to get a good jump. A Jets team that, by the way, has not been great early in games as of late. They were tonight, 1 minute and 8 seconds into the first period. Nikolai Ehlers, 13th of the year, assist to Dylan Samberg. And you know that his speed is a weapon, and his speed is, just one of the most fascinating parts of his game. A nice turnover sort of forced by Iafallo and Samberg. Samberg hits Ehlers, and he's not going up against two Joe Blows when he gains the zone. He's going up against Cale Makar and Devin Taves, and he gains the zone, and he makes a move to his left and wires it past Scott Mackenzie Blackwood. I got my Woods confused briefly. Wedgwood injured, Blackwood the goalie, to give the Jets the early 1-0 lead, Connor.
Yes, and this was Dylan Samberg with the primary assist, his first point back in these first two games. And going into overtime last night, and Dylan Samberg's not typically a guy who's going to play in overtime, but going into overtime, he was the Jets' time on ice leader against the Kings, and he was the Jets' time on ice leader again tonight. So welcome back, Dylan Samberg, because after, 2 months off almost, or a month and a half and a bit, he led the Jets in time on ice in regulation both nights of this back-to-back, and he gets the point on this goal. And Nikolai Ehlers, this is what he does off the rush, making moves around Cale Makar, like you said, who definitely is way more talented offensively than he is defensively, maybe the most talented offensive defenseman in the NHL, but he's no slouch defensively. Right. He's still great at defending the rush, and Nikolai Ehlers, with a nice inside-out move, goes over the glove side, giving the Jets a good start. And with that goal, I think the Jets had 4 shots on goal already, and you said it was 68 seconds into the game. The Jets, to get to 2 shots on goal against LA the night before, took like 13 or 14 minutes. So the very first shift of the game, Josh Morrissey threw like 2 pucks at Blackwood's feet. Then Nikolai Ehlers jumped on it. He got a shot on goal. So clearly the emphasis was to come out and throw a lot of pucks on net. And when you generate a chance that good off the rush and you're Nikolai Ehlers, it ends up in the back of the net. And it was a good start for the Jets.
Exactly what the Winnipeg Jets would have wanted to start like, and with Ehlers' goal, and it's a great snipe, it's also our Seagram shot of the game.
The Seagram shot of the game.
Big thanks to our friends at Seagram's for their support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. I think a lot of people might be having a celebratory drink or two tonight, and as long as you're doing it safely, that's the most important part, of course. We do recommend any of the great Seagram's products. Perhaps Seagram's VO is your beverage of choice tonight. Integrity, tradition, and craftsmanship. Big thanks to Seagram's. 1-0 for the Winnipeg Jets after 20 minutes. A real sort of a fun period of hockey. Last night's game was not the most fun game we've ever witnessed in downtown Winnipeg, and that's the LA Kings MO. Yes. What's impressed me the most about the Jets, or one of the aspects that impresses me the most, last night against LA, it's a grind. It's a struggle. Mm-hmm. That's how LA wants the game to be. You have some concern, or there's some thought that a more open game against Colorado, because Colorado is certainly much more of an open team than LA is with their button-down structure. Maybe the Jets are going to open things up too much. Maybe they're going to get a little run and gun. They didn't. So they maintained that structure. And that's, to me, just the sign and another example of the maturity that this Winnipeg Jets team demonstrates, really more often than not, game in and game out, that they are not going to fall into the trap of changing their approach based on the opponent that they're playing against. There was ever a game where you're going to open it up and think you're going to go freewheeling after you play a stifling game the night before, it would be tonight against Colorado. But you didn't see that. Scott Arniel, continues to preach about that And the Jets, to their credit, maintain their approach and have a consistent approach and have that all-important identity. And so I know that's a bit of an aside here as we're going into the game recap, but I thought it is important to mention that as well there, Connor.
Yes, and Scott O'Neill mentioned Friday night, and I'm sure you guys mentioned on the post-game show as well, the Jets kind of remaining patient in a game like that against the Kings, where they didn't go away from their structure. They didn't cheat defensively to maybe get a chance offensively when they didn't have any chances going for them in the offensive zone. So tonight, like you said, there's such a different style of play between these two teams. And I thought the Jets managed well in the first period. The scoring chances were 11-8 for Colorado in the first period. That was the most even period of the game because the Jets dominated the last 40 minutes of this game, like we said off the top of the show. But even with that, I thought the Jets kept the Avs to the outside for the most part. When they had the possession in the offensive zone and they were cycling around and McKinnon and McCarr were doing their things, they didn't let it become too much for Connor Hellebuck to manage. And then obviously Nikolai Ehlers got the goal early, so they were playing from ahead. And the Jets with Connor Hellebuck and their defensive structure, when they're playing at their best, playing best with a lead and shutting things down. And I thought they managed okay in the first period, kind of managing that play style difference from last night to tonight and the second night of a back-to-back and all those things.
And they kill off that penalty that they take. Dylan Coghlan takes a penalty right around the halfway mark of that first period. The Jets really clean, only 2 penalties that they took. They didn't draw a penalty, which is sort of, for the number 1 power play in the league, the last few games, they haven't really been drawing a lot of penalties, which is sort of, a little bit odd, if you will. But I mean, again, you can't overstate. You mentioned the time on ice that he plays. Dylan Samberg continues to blossom right before our very eyes. Whatever the price tag that's going to be attached to him this offseason is going to be a significant one, but the Jets appear, they're set for the next half a decade at the least on their left side. I mean, they just seem to be in a comfortable position with Samberg. When you can play, again, with full health, but when you can play your top 2 left side defensemen 50 of the 60 minutes in a game or 48 of the 60 minutes in a game, it certainly makes your life a lot easier, when it comes to needing to fill in the gap on your third pair left side defenseman.
And Dylan Samberg, there's no rust. There's been absolutely no rust. He's coming right back and he's blocking shots in the penalty kill. I know we're not late in the third period yet with our play now game recap, but at the end of the game, the Avs have a chance. They're rushing up the ice. Dylan Samberg skates all the way back, checks a player, breaks up the chance, and then the puck goes away. And then McCarr tries to feed a seam pass to Nathan McKinnon, and Samberg gets his stick on it. So he breaks up the chance in front. He breaks up the one-timer in the left circle. He's blocking shots all night. And this is on the second night of a back-to-back after missing a month and a half and being the Jets' time on ice leader both nights. Like you said, Dylan Samberg blossoming before our very eyes into a true top 4 defenseman. He's such a stud, playing over 24 minutes both nights in a row and looking like the Dylan Samberg he was pre-injury. And it's no coincidence as well that Neil Pionk has looked better in these 2 games as well, with some stability on his pairing.
That's just it. He stabilizes everything about it. 48 minutes and 48 seconds combined between Samberg and Morrissey in tonight's game. And, so Logan Stanley did miss some time in this game when he got, I think he took a stick up high, if I recall correctly.
A puck.
Another
puck.
Right?
Another one.
Puck. Yeah.
The Jets defense core is just...
They're eating pucks left, right, and center. They got to stop doing that.
Pucks.
Yeah, they're not tasty guys. I know they look like they might be cake, but they're not cake. They're rubber.
Not quite.
But, when it doesn't render the third pairing left side discussion moot, because it's certainly been one that's taken up a lot of oxygen over the last number of months, especially without Samberg in the lineup. But when Morrissey and Samberg can combine for playing, 5/6 of the game on your left side, it certainly makes it a lot less of a pressing, issue worthy of extensive discussion. Not to say you won't discuss it tomorrow morning on your program with Jacob and with Liz.
Absolutely.
Give a plug.
On
this is an opportunity for you to plug it.
Okay. I'll jump in now. WST Sunday live every single Sunday at 9 a.m. Just like Illegal Curve on Saturday mornings, but Sunday mornings. And we will be breaking down this game and the Friday night game against LA too, because we have yet to talk about that one. So should be a fun show.
There you go. Look forward to that tomorrow morning here or on the WST YouTube channel. So 1-0 for the Jets after 20 minutes. They make it 2-0. skipping ahead a little bit, so you can always backfill on me if you want there, Connor, with your analysis.
No,
but
you're good.
Mark Scheifele, his 25th of the year, coming at the 15:53 mark of the second period, assist to Kyle Connor and assist to Josh Morrissey. And Scheifele just sort of gets a little bit lost here behind the Avalanche, coming around the net, gathering up the loose puck. But it's repeated chances for the Winnipeg Jets. It's sort of wave after wave. I mean, this one finally goes in, but it's not for a lack of opportunities before this. That it couldn't have been 2-0 before this goal is scored by Scheifele, which just, I mean, we've talked about the numbers, we've broken it down, the high danger chances in the second period alone, 9-0. I mean, 9-0 so, Scheifele finally gets one, but it could have come a lot earlier than that for the Winnipeg Jets, but they make it 2-0, and it's just getting rewarded for doing all the right things the Winnipeg Jets were, and they had the Colorado Avalanche scrambling on their heels, and really, I just think not able to handle the waves that the Winnipeg Jets were coming in. It's Morrissey gaining the line, goes deep down behind the net. Morrissey's jumps up into the play, feeds Connor, save, Scheifele, rebound, goal, 2-0.
Yeah, and this was the time of the game where that Scheifele line really started to turn it on. I have in my notes here, Kyle Connor had the breakaway where the puck was rolling and he didn't get a great shot off. That puck was just bobbling and he really had no chance there. And then on a 3-on-2, he had the backhand that went off the post where he went to the backside of Mackenzie Blackwood, fired that backhand shot, just hit the post. And then the very next play, Mark Scheifele scores this goal. And then right after this goal, that's when Pionk hit the crossbar on that play where so the Jets were all over the Avs for kind of a 7-minute stretch here in the second period to close the period out. And the first kind of half of this period, nothing was really happening. The Jets weren't generating. They were keeping the Avs to the outside, but then the Jets absolutely pressed. And I think it started with that top line. The Scheifele line was generating a chance every single time they went out, and then they finally got rewarded. Just real quick on Mark Scheifele. Since being left off of Team Canada, I know we like bringing this up because since then he's been unbelievable. Since being left off of Team Canada in early December, he has 13 goals. That's second in the NHL in that time to Leon Draisaitl, who has 14. And he's also tied second in the NHL in the entire season in goals with 25, trailing Leon Draisaitl as well. But he's tied with a few players, second in the NHL in goals, and second since that announcement on December 4th or 3rd, whatever it was.
Whatever day it was. Well, from the Winnipeg Jets perspective, more of their players should be snubbed in that case. If this is what it turns them into, it gives them a little bit of an edge, it gives them a little bit of a motivation. The Jets will be glad to have Mark Scheifele with a bit of chip on his shoulder. Undoubtedly, still a possibility, of course, he gets called up to make Team Canada, barring injury, who knows, but he certainly has, I would say, put his name in pen at the top of the replacements if there is an injury replacement necessary with his performance as of late. 2-0 after 40 minutes for the Winnipeg Jets. They make it 3-0. We're skipping ahead. We'll come back to it. Nikolai Ehlers, his second of the game. It's into the empty net. Adam Lowry, Alex Iafallo with the assists. This at the 57 mark, 57 seconds to go in a third period that was, I would describe as a low event third period, which is what the Winnipeg Jets wanted. I mean, when you have a 2-0 lead on home ice, and they say that the 2-0 lead is the worst lead in hockey, or a 2-goal lead is the worst lead in hockey, because you're not sure if you should press or if you should sit back a little bit. But if you just swallow up the opponent's hole, it doesn't matter if you sit back or if you press. And that's what the Winnipeg Jets did. I mean, I really think that we've said it a couple times now, but to not give up a high danger chance to the Colorado Avalanche at 5-on-5 in the final 40 minutes of the game is an incredible achievement. I mean, it really is.
It is. And I mean, the Jets last year had that dominant stretch of 34 games or whatever it was, allowing 3 goals or less. And we saw that defensive structure all season long. With the injuries to Sandberg and the injuries to Fleury and Miller and Morrissey missing a game this week as well, we haven't seen that same stability in not allowing chances. But this game was maybe one of the best performances we've seen all season long at the Jets suppressing chances at 5-on-5. And yeah, I mean, 0 high danger chances against, only 4 scoring chances against total at 5-on-5 in the 40 minutes as well. 14 for the game. The Jets generated 22 shots against, like you said. Connor Hellebuck Scott Arniel joked after the game that it was, an easier night for Connor Hellebuck, and he went on to fence that answer, but we don't have to do that. It was an easy night for Connor Hellebuck. Like, not all shutouts are created equal, and you can look back to the 1-0 win over the Avs earlier this season where the Avs had 35 shots in that game. They had a ton of chances. That was a Connor Hellebuck bailing the Jets out. That was not the case on this night. Connor Hellebuck was still great, but the Jets' defensive structure was the biggest reason for the shutout and the 3-0 win.
Yeah. Cale Makar, 0 shots on goal in tonight's game for the Colorado Avalanche.
And
Nathan
he tried.
McKinnon,
He tried a
yeah,
lot.
of course he tried.
He was blocking shots.
Yeah.
The Jets were in lanes. The Avs love that high tip, and you saw it a lot in the playoffs last year, where their players will be at kind of the top of the circles, and Cale Makar will fire a wrister, and they'll tip the puck. Hellebuck will be completely screened, and it'll go in. They tried that a lot tonight, and either the Jets blocked shots or were in lanes taking that away. They did a great job taking that away. Yeah,
exactly right. These two teams know each other pretty well. They've played a bunch of hockey against each other over the last couple of years. So the MOs for both teams and the pre-scouts for both teams are well known. And the Jets were able to execute it better than the Avalanche were tonight. And that's kudos to the Winnipeg Jets. And on home ice, now they improved to that. What is it? I guess 2-1-2, right? It was 1-1-2 coming into tonight's game on the homestand. So now it's 2-1-2 through the first 5 games of this 8-game homestand, and it's certainly with a statement effort against the Colorado Avalanche in tonight's game. A very complete victory tonight. Do you think we see Lowry? Let's hypothetical. We heard Scott Arniel. You know where I'm going with this. I can tell already.
Yeah.
You heard Scott Arniel. In the post game saying Nemestikov's, day to day, wasn't able to go after blocking that shot. Not something that's going to seems to be a serious issue. Likely, I'm going to say, probably, maybe it's probable for Tuesday's game against the Vancouver Canucks. Lowry's performance tonight with Ehlers and Iafallo, what does that do to forward lines that really haven't changed very much? Does this all of a sudden maybe give Scott Arniel the opportunity to rethink how he deploys his lines after the Connor Scheifele Ehlers line?
Yes, I do think that. I think he's going to consider it, and I don't think it's going to happen. That's going to be my official prediction of what's going to happen. I will say I liked what Lowry and Ehlers were able to do together tonight, and for a few reasons. Last year, how many times have I brought up the playoffs? Stop me if you've heard this before, but the Lowry line, right. The Lowry line was matched up against McKinnon, and that didn't go very well. Yes, they're an all defense shutdown line, but McKinnon still had their way. Tonight, the Lowry line had their way, and I think while Nikolai Ehlers isn't known as a defensive specialist, his ability to control the puck in the offensive zone and make the McKinnon line play defense was a big reason for why maybe their defensive metrics were so strong, because the Lowry line last year, when matched up against the Avs, didn't do a great job at keeping that McKinnon line down below the goal line. They would have a few cycle shifts, but the McKinnon line would get running wild, and then they would just be hanging on for dear life in their own zone until the Avs scored a goal. But with Nikolai Ehlers there, Adam Lowry then becomes better in transition. They have the puck more. They have the puck offensively more. I'm not saying to break up the third line, but if the Jets played the Avs in the first round again this year and game 1 went how we saw last year, I would consider maybe putting Nikolai Ehlers on Adam Lowry's wing, maybe for more of a transition offense, keep the puck away element rather than just the all defense, all shut down, pray and hope that they don't score on us method that they kind of followed last year.
Exactly. The threat of Ehlers being on the ice, or Ehlers being on the ice in that situation, is such a threat that maybe it forces the Avs to just pay a little bit more attention, as opposed to knowing that the Jets are just going to go all defense and aren't really going to be much of an offensive threat against the superstar line, the McKinnon line for the Avs. Anyways, getting ahead of ourselves there, but will be interesting. It'll be something to watch on Tuesday, Monday, when the Jets are back on the ice, and then Tuesday, of course, their next game against the Vancouver Canucks. We'll go to break here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. Jared Bednar, Colorado Avalanche head coach, had some interesting comments about the Winnipeg Jets and his impression of the Jets' performance tonight. We'll bring those to you here next on the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Connor Harabchuk, Saturday night. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.
We want to thank you for not betting with Play Now. Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Center. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime. Visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Center. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in two unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotion, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
This January at Boston Pizza, every day is Pasta Tuesday. That means BP's famous pastas start at just $11.99 every single day. Create your own or go gourmet for just a few bucks more. Come on in for Pasta Tuesday pricing any day. Only this January at Boston Pizza.
Saturday night, bottom of the hour. Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Connor Harabchuk with you, talking about the Jets' 3-0 victory over the Colorado Avalanche. As you can see on the screen, Colorado Avalanche head coach Jared Bednar, beautiful hair that he has as an aside, he spoke very glowingly about Connor Hellebuck and the Winnipeg Jets team defense. Here's what the Avs head coach had to say after tonight's game. This courtesy of our good friend Darren Bombing of Bonfire Sports.
Yeah, he's been fantastic all year, I think, and not just this year for me. Like, he's been one of the top guys in the league for a while. I think that is earned, like it's consistency over time, giving your team a chance to win, which is kind of what we're seeing out of our guy now. Gives a chance every night. Guys are playing committed in front of him, like when there's a breakdown, he's there to save it. So you got to try to make it as difficult as you can on him. We were putting some pucks there and some traffic there tonight, but couldn't sort of come up with anything dangerous for me. But I think it's overall team defense and then his play, giving him a chance every night.
There's Colorado Avalanche head coach Jared Bednar. I mean, again, these coaches, these teams, they all know about the opponents they're playing against, Connor. They know who the stars are. They know who the impressive players are more than we do. And that's just Jared Bednar speaking the truth about Connor Hellebuck, trying to boost his goalie up the same way. But I'm not sure that Mackenzie Blackwood and Connor Hellebuck necessarily are in the same breath as one another.
Yeah, Mackenzie Blackwood has had a good stretch, maybe a good month since being traded to the Avs, but Connor Hellebuck's had a good decade. And I think Jared Bednar is recognizing that as a guy who has gone up against Connor Hellebuck a lot, coached against Connor Hellebuck a lot, probably done a lot of pre-scout against Connor Hellebuck, talked a lot about how to beat him, how to get eyes in front. And they did a successful job at that last year. But it was a night like tonight where the Jets team defense, blocking shots out in front, keeping McKinnon and McCarr and Rantanen to the outside and letting Connor Hellebuck kind of do his thing and see the pucks. And that was one thing Connor Hellebuck said at his exit presser last year too, is like, I couldn't see half the goals that went in. The light just went on and the puck was behind me, right? He could see the shots tonight. And even when he couldn't, the Jets were blocking shots and getting in the lane. So it was that buy-in that we've talked about a lot in the team defense, along with Connor Hellebuck, that resulted in one of the Jets' best wins of the season for sure.
No question about it. We asked, we heard Scott Arneal talking about Lowry and Ehlers. Here's what Nikolai Ehlers had to say about playing sort of in a shutdown role or skating alongside Adam Lowry tonight. Quote, "I loved it," Nikolai Ehlers said. Quote, "I think you can see that I enjoyed that challenge and I tried to do my best not to give up anything." So you can sort of feel the wheels are churning and the ideas are bubbling and things are maybe percolating as it pertains to the Winnipeg Jets and a potential redeployment of some forward lines. So that's something to keep a close eye on. That quote comes courtesy of our buddy Mike McIntyre of the Winnipeg Free Press. That'll be something to keep an eye on Monday when the Jets next head to the ice. They're going to have tomorrow off, as we suspected. That'll be something to watch for on Monday.
Yes, absolutely. The line combinations. And I don't know, Nikolai Ehlers, of course, all of his time here as a Winnipeg Jet, he's mostly been on the second line, right? Except for last year, he was up on that top line. I believe him that he loved going up against Nathan McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen and playing against the best players and the challenge that you have to be responsible defensively or else those guys are going to burn you. But also he had one of his best games of the year offensively too, working off of Adam Lowry, which is a fit maybe you wouldn't necessarily link together. But then when you think about it more, like Lowry isn't the most skilled player, but he opens up space for other players. And Nikolai Ehlers is great with that space. Like you said, the wheels start to turn a little bit and you start to connect the dots. And I think Nino Niederreiter and Cole Perfetti, which was the other line that we haven't talked about. I thought Cole Perfetti, a lot of people in chat still saying, yeah, the Jets were great, but Cole Perfetti wasn't. I thought he was pretty good on this night. Nino Niederreiter saw him on the chance in the first period that Mackenzie Blackwood just stopped. I think if Perfetti scores that, the narrative changes a little bit for sure. Can he still work on some things? Absolutely. But I think that the Ehlers and Lowry thing and the Niederreiter and Perfetti thing maybe has earned another look. Even if Nemestikov is back, maybe you plug him in between Niederreiter and Perfetti and just see how that looks, right?
It's not like Nemestikov, Perfetti, and Ehlers have been working.
No,
it's not like you're going. It's not like you're tearing something up that's been tremendous.
You can't break
up
that line.
You can certainly break up that line, and so maybe you spread the wealth out a little bit more, and you get you never know. Sometimes you fall a little bit back asswards into some things that work. This might be the Winnipeg Jets. That happening to them for a short period of time at the very least. So time will tell. Something to watch come Tuesday night. Monday's practice, and then Tuesday night against the Vancouver Canucks. Looking at the AHL affiliate of the Winnipeg Jets, the Manitoba Moose, as we talked about, I'm not going to do a Manuk Moose Minute because largely my last name is Mindell, not Manuk. But for the Manitoba Moose team that has been playing well as of late and has been on a bit of a heater, 1-0. They win a 1-0 shutout. Capo Kakkonen getting the 27 save shutout for the Moose in Grand Rapids to close out a very successful road trip. So for a Moose team and an AHL affiliate that needs some good things to start happening for it and has been struggling for really the vast majority of this year, kudos to them and good on them for having a real successful road trip, and good for Capo Kakkonen for getting that shutout tonight for the Moose against Grand Rapids.
Yeah, for sure. I think that means that they're 4-0-1 in 2025 now. And they're doing that without their captain. Dom Toninato has been up with the Jets in that time.
Brad Lambert again. Brad Lambert out of the lineup with illness, so he didn't play tonight for the Moose. But success is success.
And the Moose have lost a lot of games to goaltending this year and past years. So to win one tonight, 27 save performance from Capo Kakkonen, like you said, that's a good sign. And Dom Toninato got into the lineup tonight on the fourth line. And I know we talked about the second and third line and how those look different, but he was penalty killing. He had a really nice play kind of beating Cale Makar in a foot race. It was pretty funny to see that happen, because obviously Toninato was making his season debut. Cale Makar is going to play top line minutes for Team Canada. So it was really interesting to see that. But Dom Toninato, again, fourth line, how much of an impact can you really make? But he had one nice play on the penalty kill.
He did, and it was Nikita Chibrikov who scored for the Manitoba Moose into the game-winning goal for them. So both teams, the AHL affiliate and the NHL parent club, schedule and walk away with victories tonight in their respective games. So a successful Saturday night for those within the True North organization and those that cheer for the teams that make up the True North organization. Connor, one more time, plug it tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. It's a little less than 12 hours away, so tell the people what they should be doing Sunday morning at 9 a.m.
Yeah, set your alarms tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. on the Winnipeg Sports Talk YouTube channel. I'll be joined by Jacob Stoller of Sportsnet.ca and Liz Hood. A lot of people know Liz. She's been on the WST channel all season long doing this show with me and the deep dives. We'll break down the Jets game. We'll have Scott O'Neill's comments. We will hand out our trending up and trending down players of the week, because it's our one show of the week. So we're going to see who we think is trending up and trending down. I think Dylan Sandberg might get mentioned for that one. And then we're also, at the end of the show last week, we debuted kind of a segment where people in the chat are able to ask questions to us at the end of the show, and we kind of rapid fire answer them. So join us tomorrow. You can ask us a question at the end of the show, and we'll talk Winnipeg Jets, and we hope it's worth your time, and we have a blast doing it.
No question it's worth your time. 9 a.m. Sunday morning. Nothing else going on, so be sure to join them on the WST YouTube channel. Connor, thanks so much for jumping on this evening, joining us. I still don't know where Manuk and Ginsburg are. They just choose not to show up, but I'm glad that you're here to fill in the gap. More than fill the boots of those two fine gentlemen, so we appreciate that. We appreciate everybody joining us tonight here, and, of course, those who joined us earlier this morning and those who joined us last night. So I'm going to enjoy 24 hours away from this fine YouTube channel and kick up my feet a little bit and watch some football and spend some quality time with the family as well. Thanks to everyone. Have a great Saturday, rest of your Saturday. Be safe with whatever you want to do and are doing so. Big thanks to our sponsors, our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Play Now, Holt Dental, Boston Pizza, City Place, and Seagram's. Of course, Tuesday, City Place, 12 noon, Food Court. Live on location edition of the Illegal Curve pregame show. We're going to get you set for the Jets and the Canucks later on Tuesday night. So be sure to join us Tuesday afternoon at City Place in the Food Court. Support all of our fine sponsors because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Be well, everybody. We'll see you Tuesday afternoon. IllegalCurve.com is your resource moving forward, of course, and the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button. For Connor Harabchuk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Until Tuesday at 12 noon, we wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, IllegalCurve.com.